Good morning, everyone. 9 a.m. We're continuing to stream here on WGRZ Plus through 9:30 this morning, and we're beginning with this crash here. Just within the past 30 minutes, we got an update about this serious crash, as you see here. It happened last Friday in the town of Tonawanda, and it actually caused part of Elmwood Avenue to shut down. It also caused a power outage. Well, earlier this morning, police confirmed that the driver was actually having a medical emergency before he or she hit a utility pole and then hit a tree, and he later died at Kenmore Mercy Hospital. The investigation is continuing this morning. We're also following some breaking traffic news right now. A bad crash on the 90 eastbound right near exit 58. That's near the town of Evans. And let's go right now to Noah Maciejewski, who's following it for us. Noah, what's going on?
Good morning, Melissa. I am able to confirm at this point that Mercy Flight is on the scene of this serious crash with injuries and on the 90 eastbound. This is just beyond exit 58 in the general vicinity of the Angola service area there. That is the location of the crash. Now, exit 58 itself near the town of Evans will not be closed at this time, so drivers are still able to keep traveling on the 90 eastbound, but there will come a point as they approach that Angola service area that all lanes of the 90 eastbound are closed. So right now, just taking a look at the maps here, it looks like we have about 3 miles or more of traffic at a standstill on the 90 eastbound due to those lane closures. Again, Mercy Flight is on the scene, and we had an original estimate of 30 to 45 minutes before the roads were to be reopened. At this point, we are hearing that it is likely that that closure that time frame for the closure will be extended. No word yet as to when the 90 eastbound lanes may reopen, but at this point it's looking like it's going to be longer than 30 to 45 minutes. Traffic just at a standstill at this time. Melissa.
Right. Okay. So Noah, that means if you're coming from like Dunkirk, Fredonia area and trying to go eastbound, yep. So if you're going Dunkirk to Fredonia toward Buffalo, you're going to want to avoid that altogether if you're getting on there, or if you know folks absolutely. Who are coming from Ohio or out there and need to go this way this morning to avoid that area.
Yep, definitely. Like I said, they are closing all lanes. Right now, we had suspected that they might divert traffic off at exit 58. They are not doing that at this time. So traffic is continuing forward, but they will come to a point where the roads are closed and everyone is just sitting there. That's like I mentioned, that 3 miles of traffic or more just sitting still right now on the 90 eastbound as all lanes are closed.
Okay. And again, do we know if it's just one car involved or if there are multiple vehicles involved in this crash?
I was told it was a single vehicle crash.
Okay. All right, our thoughts and prayers to the driver and any passengers that may or may not be in that vehicle, and we'll continue to update you on it. We do have a crew heading to the scene, and we'll bring you any visuals as soon as we get them. We're also working to learn more about this scene on Farmer Street in Buffalo's Black Rock neighborhood. You can see firefighters were there on the scene checking it out. We did reach out to fire officials for more information, and we are still waiting to hear back. We have heard back from Amherst police, who have now confirmed that one man died in this crash on Hopkins Road yesterday. It happened between Maple and Sheridan just before 6 o'clock yesterday evening. Police say a 43-year-old man from Amherst was driving a Ford Mustang that collided with a Honda Pilot head-on. And then that crash caused the Honda to hit another SUV. The driver of the Mustang died, and other drivers are recovering and are expected to survive. Convicted serial killer Richard Fox will be sentenced today for a third murder. Fox is already serving life in prison for the deaths of 2 women in Erie County that he admitted to killing nearly 2 decades apart. And then in January, Fox admitted to killing another woman, 32-year-old Crystal Kurthoys. She died in 2023, but her body was found just last year in Fox's old home in Niagara Falls. Fox also recently admitted to killing his grandmother 50 years ago, but he will not face charges for that crime. Well, the next step in the budget process is getting underway in the city of Buffalo. The Common Council has scheduled a special meeting to receive the mayor's proposed budget, which is due today. It also marks the start of the public comment period, which will run through the end of this month. The public might have a lot to say also, considering that Ryan is proposing a 25% property tax levy increase. Public hearings, department reviews, and budget workshops are all set for the final week of April, and the council has to adopt a final budget by May 26th. The Buffalo Common Council is set to debate the appointment of Erica Shields as the new Buffalo Police Commissioner next Tuesday. And ahead of that meeting, Buffalo's potential next top cop addressed the media to pitch her vision for the department. Daybreak's Natalie Foss joins us live from the newsroom to tell us what she had to say. Natalie?
Well, Melissa, Shields fielded plenty of questions about bringing back programs, working with the police union. She also spoke about the difficulties she knows she's going to face if she is approved and moves into this particular role. One of those challenges she expects to face is money. She was asked specifically about police overtime, something that the Common Council has had a problem with in the past. Shields says that right now she's trying to find the truth when it comes to that overtime and whether it's needed, while also trying to identify key points where the department can rein in their spending. One program she'd like to bring back is the foot patrol through neighborhoods.
I want to absolutely sit down with the union and talk through with them what we need to do to have foot patrol and bike patrol. I'm a huge believer in it, and I think the key is finding officers who want to do it. But it's the way that you really get to know who lives and works in a community.
Another challenge she could face is winning over the Common Council. North District Council member Joseph Golombek said that he would be a no vote based on the proposed salary increase.
The median income is about $35,000, and I think that it is egregious to take the salary of the commissioner and go from 170 to 250. That's a salary increase, a raise of almost double the median income of my neighborhood, my Black Rock Riverside neighborhood.
Right now, Two on Your Side has been told that at least 4 members of the Common Council are not supportive of the appointment. However, we've also been told that that could change throughout the next week and after the council meeting to discuss the appointment next Tuesday. Live and On Your Side in the newsroom, Natalie Foss, Channel 2 News.
All right, Natalie, thank you. Well, investigators are still trying to find out what caused some fights to break out at the Walden Galleria over the weekend. Cheektowaga police say it originally received reports that up to 50 people were fighting by Aloha Crab restaurant. There was an event happening at that restaurant Sunday night, and then around 11 p.m., police received calls about a fight involving just 3 to 5 people, but it did escalate, they say, to about 50 people fighting. When officers got there, the fights had stopped, but there were about 100 people gathered in the parking lot, according to police. So they cleared the area around 11:30, and that's when a woman called 911 saying that she was assaulted by 2 other women inside the restaurant. And both of those women, 23-year-old Alexis Nelson and 27-year-old Latoya Cheatham, were arrested and charged with assault. The owners of the Galleria say that the incident was an unauthorized private event after the mall had closed. A former church business manager has pleaded guilty to stealing more than $80,000 from 2 local parishes. 63-year-old Keith Call could face up to 4 years in prison and has to pay back the money as well. Call admitted to stealing more than $82,000 while working for St. Mary's in Swarmville and Nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary in Williamsville. Prosecutors say he made unauthorized purchases, stole money from fundraisers, and wrote checks to himself. The theft was uncovered during an audit after he left the job. He's scheduled to be sentenced next month. Inside St. Luke's Episcopal on North Main Street in Jamestown, a nearly 150-year-old 2-foot bronze cross went missing on Easter Sunday, but it has been returned. The theft was reported to Jamestown police, raising questions about what anyone would even want to do with the memorial piece that actually can't be sold or scrapped. Well, police recognized the man from security footage, and they were able to return the cross yesterday morning. It was damaged, but not beyond repair. St. Luke's Episcopal says it is not interested in prosecuting anyone for the crime. Instead, they want to offer help to the individual who stole that cross. 9:09 now. We are sitting at 64 degrees and a little lull in the precipitation and the storms that we saw this morning, Kev, but more on the way, right?
Yeah, round 1 is well east to us now, but round 2 is to our west and will move across western New York. You know, previous runs of Future Look had it more closer to the afternoon commute. It looks like it's going to be kind of 6 to 7 p.m. A close call for Sabres fans, or if you're heading downtown this evening as well. Just heads up for storms coming from the west. Latest run of Future Look is coming. Again, you do see some showers by the NYPA line. Those are rather light to moderate as of now. Thunderstorms are again well cleared to the east. The SPC Storm Prediction Center, an office in Oklahoma, and they sort of monitor the chances for severe criteria within thunderstorm complexes. For example, hail or gusty winds or downpours. Their biggest concern is with some elevated winds, maybe some higher localized wind gusts that could cause some damage, especially for the areas in yellow here, which should be the southern half of Chautauqua County, extending into, I would say, Randolph and Salamanca into Caddo County, and for our viewers in Warren and Bradford, PA as well. Okay, temperatures across western New York, we're all in the 60s. We're going to hang out in the Niagara Falls and Grand Island. I'm sorry, you're at 58 and 59. We're all going to make it into the 60s today, even a good chance at 70 for parts of the southern tip. Here now is Future Look. Again, you do see a dry interval improving to maybe partly cloudy, sort of like yesterday, where it ended up being not too bad of a day. Once the showers pass, kind of warm, breezy, gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Good kite day, I told my daughter. Again, the showers working through between 6 and 7 o'clock as their arrival. Those, I think they'll be stronger, especially for areas of the southern tier. There's a bit of a lake shadow that develops sometimes. The Lake Erie can sometimes weaken these systems as they work their way across the chill lake. They lose their energy. But the southern tier storms, I think, are more likely to remain intact and more likely to be strong. I think downpours are likely across western New York, though, between 3/4 to maybe even an inch of rain over this 1 to 2 hour period. So again, we do improve overnight tomorrow. I don't think any thunderstorms are on, but yeah, we'll be timing out showers for you again. On and off rain for our Thursday. Again, winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour and a lot of dry time throughout our Thursday. Friday, Future Look has backed off on showers, and other models are doing the same as well. Maybe just a nuisance type sprinkle in the morning, but notice how we improve to partly cloudy, maybe even mostly sunny in time for sunset on Friday. And for our weekend, well, it's sort of a split decision. I got that coming up. Again, a weather impact alert. Storms may be strong, especially in the southern tier. With the window of time, if we expand it, it'll be 5 to 8, 9 p.m. I have in the graphic. I say closer to 6 to 8 p.m. is when you keep an eye to the skies. Of course, we have your back on air and online, WGRZ.com, and of course on all the social media that you guys are into. So again, temperatures in the 60s today with late afternoon storms. It could be strong, especially for areas south. Scattered showers, really the story for our tomorrow as well, with on and off light to moderate showers anticipated. Again, gusts up to 30 miles per hour, and once again, temperatures in the 60s. Fast forward to the weekend. It's a rather interesting weekend, and I'm the morning meteorologist Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, really, and again, the timing may switch on this. These fronts it may speed up or slow down. The first half of Saturday, 70s, warm. And then a strong cold front moves its way through, giving us rain, thunderstorms likely, I would say. And notice the temperature drop. We have the daytime highs will be in the 40s. The actual high on Sunday is likely to be around midnight. We're sort of going to be in the 50s around midnight. Temperatures will fall, and then daytime temperatures Sunday will likely be in the 40s. I think most of our Sunday is dry. Notice only around 40 for our high. Here we are in late April, for goodness sakes, or we will be in late April on Monday. And then Tuesday, at least we rebound back into the 50s. It looks to be partly cloudy, so at least we get a couple dry days in a row. Been a while since we've had that, Melissa.
Yeah, the grass is growing very quickly thanks to Mother Nature, but
right.
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to it drying out a little bit. All right, Kevin, thank you. Well, coming up after the break, we'll talk about state testing. It's upon us for lots of kids here in Western New York and across the state. But what do you do if your child is showing signs of anxiety surrounding these tests? We'll talk about that coming up right after the break.
Yeah. Okay, welcome back, everybody. And parents, this is a really interesting story for you. As state testing begins for students, you might notice that your child is either struggling or perhaps getting stressed while keeping up with the heavy workload in the classroom and then being tested on top of it. It's a critical time for the future, and we are on your side, giving you
the best tips to make sure that your child is successful once testing does begin. And joining me now is Tim O'Shea, who is the Executive Director of the Education Revolution Association. Thanks, Tim, for being here.
Thanks, Melissa, for having me.
So for those who don't know, explain, what is ERA?
Sure. ERA is a nonprofit that's based in Ohio and has an operation here in Buffalo. Founded by an entrepreneur, Fred Odie, who grew up in Buffalo, was a teacher for a little while in the 70s. Felt like even in the 70s, kids were over-tested and teachers were forced to take a cookie-cutter approach. He left teaching, founded a software company, sold it, and is now putting millions into education to address the problem we're talking about, teaching kids more to the test of life and getting them ready for life, and putting much less emphasis on standardized testing and pure academics.
Yeah, I think that a lot of parents are kind of sometimes worried about the state testing and the pressure that it does put on their children. And really, what is it testing? Is it testing the student, or is it testing the teacher or the school district all around? So what is the state of state testing
it's doing
right now?
It's funny. It's doing all of those things that you're talking about. So the first thing to know, if there's one thing people remember from this conversation today, I would hope it would be this. New York State is moving away from this heavy emphasis on standardized testing. That doesn't mean the testing is going away. It'll be here. But New York State is moving toward a document called a Portrait of a Graduate that identifies 6 characteristics students should have when they leave high school and go out into the world. Academic preparedness, that's the testing, is one of those. But the other ones are like creativity, critical thinking, global citizenship, being able to look to being a futuristic person, being able to look to the future and plan. So schools, therefore, also are making a shift toward those things. So is ERA.
Okay, and so, which should be, peace of mind or some comfort for students who don't do well with standardized tests, because they can get so nervous. They might be the brightest student in the class, but it's not reflected necessarily in how they test.
100%. If you are a great test taker, if your child is a great test taker, that's incredible. That's a great skill. It is not necessarily one that will translate directly into success in career and life, but it's an indicator that, you're good in high pressure situations at demonstrating your knowledge, right? So the way that parents can put these tests in context for their children is these are like a snapshot in time. This is showing how you perform on, if it's this week in New York, an ELA exam, an English Language Arts exam. If it's at the end of the month here in New York for grades 3 through 8, it's a math exam. It's showing what you know, what you need to work on. It's also showing how well your school and your teachers are performing on these tests. Not necessarily in teaching the whole child, but on these tests. So they're a snapshot, and that's really what parents need to remember and help impart to their kids.
And what should parents be looking for or telling their kids regarding the state testing and looking for as far as nerves and anxiety?
Yeah, so on the nerves and anxiety, the place to start on that is, and this is what I think of as a parent too. My daughter's 20 now, so she's honestly, thankfully, she's through the testing. But what we would always tell her, and me as a teacher, what I'd always impart to students is, these tests are good practice, and this is good for parents to remember too. They're really good practice in handling high pressure situations, which you're gonna do in life. You're gonna have interviews, you're gonna have big presentations, you're gonna have big decisions to make. These tests are early practice in handling high pressure situations. However, if you don't do well, the implications of that are not necessarily that high. It's not gonna change the course of your life doing great or not doing as well as you hope. They're going to give you, again, I'll come back to that phrase, a snapshot of how you are doing today in that particular subject.
Okay, that's really good advice to let them know, this, it's not going to make or break
it's a thing.
you.
Yeah,
but it's something that perhaps can help you out as far as the high pressure situation. Do you recommend for parents who are really concerned about it that they opt out? I mean, opting out during COVID and around those years was a really, really controversial thing. Do we opt out or don't we? And I was looking up in the 24-25 school year, state data said about 12% of eligible students did end up opting out, or their parents opted their student out. But in Hamburg, it was 33% opted out for math. Alden was 32, Niagara-Wheatfield 29. What do you suggest about opting out?
All right, personal opinion only. Make the choice that's best for your child. I don't think it needs to be done as a statement anymore. There was a time where there were a lot of parents doing exactly what they have the right to do. They would pull their children out of the testing, in part because they thought it'd be better for their child, which is great, but also to send a message to the state that we don't want so much emphasis on these tests. That message has been, at least in my view, that message has been received in New York State and around the country too. Most states are now moving away from heavy testing, not all, but most. So you don't need to do it as a statement, but look at your child, and like if your child is experiencing just a little bit of anxiety and nerves over a test, I personally would look at it as a good opportunity to do what we were just talking about, teach them how to handle the pressure, give them some practice. If your child is experiencing like deep nerves, and parents know their kids, they can see if there's more of a fight or flight response coming out. I'm thinking of a stat I saw that high stakes testing can jack up the amount of cortisol, that stress hormone that our body produces. And for some people, and some children in particular, it can really surge, and you can really tell that it's affecting your kid. If that's happening, I would consider pulling them out. The implications of pulling your child from the testing are not high, right? It's a little bit less information you're going to have on their performance. It's a little bit less information that the schools will have, but there's so much more to learning than how you do on math or English exams.
They can't pull them out of Regents though, right?
Well, so it's funny with Regents. Right now there's certain, it depends on if you're in public or private school too, but if you're in a school that requires Regents, public schools, there are 5 Regents exams that are required for graduation. However, for people out there who have a younger child, that's beginning to change in 2027.
With the portrait of the graduate.
With the portrait of the graduate, and New York State is starting to roll back the Regents requirements.
I'm sure that, those parents who did speak up by opting their child out probably are happy that, the state is pulling back on some of these standardized tests. But finally, to wrap things up, advice for parents. You said, mention to the student that this is not something that's going to make or break them or follow them along. Any other advice that you can give, that parents can give to their child when they do have to go in and take the test if they are nervous, or any physical things that they can do or things that they can think about to get through it?
Yeah, I mean, the first one is get a good night's sleep the night before. Eat a good breakfast. And as basic as this sounds, there's a reason that we always hear this advice. Don't go to school hungry. Rest, eat, take a deep breath, count, some meditation techniques, count to 10 slowly, count backwards from 10 slowly, little things like that. Listen to music before, stress ball, whatever works for your child, just to lower that fight or flight response. Okay. That's where I'd go with it.
Really good advice. All right, Timo Shai from Education Revolution Association, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it. All right, we'll be back right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. The Sabres' path to the Stanley Cup a little bit more clear right now. Okay, we know that they're playing the Boston Bruins now because the Bruins won last night, so they have the top wild card spot. We still don't know when the Sabres are playing. However, I did get a text message from a friend saying that he was trying to buy tickets and looking on Ticketmaster.
Okay.
And he said that Ticketmaster said that they're playing Sunday at 7 p.m.
Sunday at 7?
I went to confirm it, and I went to Ticketmaster, and it was back to be announced, TBA, for the time and the date. So we cannot confirm that it's Sunday at 7, but that's what one of the leaks possibly is. But then a lot of folks are saying it's also going to be on Saturday. So we shall see. It's Saturday or Sunday for the first game. The Sabres will play twice at home first, then it will go to Boston for games 3 and 4. And then if there is a need for game 5 or 6 or 7, it'll be Buffalo, then Boston, then Buffalo once again. How are you feeling about it?
Good. I'm fired. Listen, man, they're in the postseason, and now you feel a little spoiled, because at first I was like, just make the playoffs, just go ahead. And like if you would have in October, hey, the Sabres are going to lose in the first round, I'll sign up for that.
Sure.
You mean playoff hockey? Fantastic, because we've seen if you're younger, you probably haven't seen Buffalo go nuts for Sabres playoff hockey, but we do.
Yeah.
It's fun. We get super fired up, as we do for Bills playoff games, and now we get the party on a Tuesday.
And party in the plaza, and now you can watch the game at Canal Side. We'll be learning about those plans from the Sabres when they have a press conference tomorrow on Thursday. So they'll be talking about what the playoff atmosphere will look like as far as they're concerned. But there's one final home game, and that is tonight against the Stars, 7 p.m., giving out Tage Thompson bobbleheads.
Is he going to play? They got to rest some dudes.
I hope that they rest him and UPL and Deline and make sure that they don't get hurt in the final game that doesn't mean anything for the team anyway.
Right.
So, yeah, I would imagine that they would be resting them, but we'll find out.
Dallas is in the playoffs, too, so they're probably going to rest some dudes, too. It's on national TV, so but still, I hope they sit a lot of dudes. I'll play. I'm ready.
Pete'll play.
I
we'll
can
have the
skate.
Channel 2 team.
I can't stop, but I can skate.
You're the one who just slams into the boards.
I need usually there's a little kid next to me. I'll just try to push over or something like that.
Oh, that's
I'm working on my stuff.
That poor little kid that's skating with the cone, and you're like, give me that cone, I need it.
He's got the helmet on. Sorry.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll stay tuned. We'll keep you updated when we know more about the Sabres. How much time? 40 seconds? Can we get through this? I don't know. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, did you hear they had their inductees?
Yes.
They announced them. So we got Phil Collins, Billy Idol, Iron Maiden. It's a class of 18
Sade,
artists.
Luther.
Sade.
Okay.
Yes, Luther. Patrick would be very happy that Luther made it. Wu-Tang finally in it. Billy Idol. And Oasis. They broke up forever. They came back and they're together. I love Oasis.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Again, those aren't rock. I mean, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame shouldn't have Sade. With all due respect to Sade, you know.
I totally agree.
Me and my bros tailgating, crack open the beer. Dude, blast some Sade.
All right, we'll leave you with that thought. Bye, everybody.